Hello and welcome to the extended topics in Python. So today we're going to tackle email, and the beautiful thing about this is I pretty much plagiarize this from python.org. And a lot of this stuff, you can get a lot of good material on python.org. I know a lot of times you go to these um, programming language sites where they organize all the data about it. And sometimes it can seem like these super like 7,000 line pages, and you have all these minus t's, backslash r's, and and 15,000 arguments that you can put in there, and sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. The nice thing about the python.org is that it usually has a useful example. So I took one of their examples up and chopped it up a little bit and kind of made it um, my/your own, so you can use for this piece. Um, I have some things commented out here. So we're going to follow the black non-commented way of doing it, but I'll show you a couple wrinkles that you might want to try doing it on your own when you're going to play with it. So let's just get straight to it. This is essentially following up on, I think there's a chain letter in the book, and it kind of explained to you how you could make a nice little chain letter and then inflict it. Now we could actually take that letter and email it out in mass. Um, so let's start with it. The first line is very important. This library should exist. You shouldn't have to bring it in on a pip. It should already exist. But if you have any problems, look that up. Again, I'm using a 3.5 or 3.6 here. So if you're in the 2 point something, you might actually have to bring in a package. The second line is unneeded. I was going to play with it a little bit, but I decided to keep it simple. So it doesn't hurt. As you can see, it's SMTP secure socket layer. Because we are going to be using we're going to be trying to email something, we need to know essentially the outgoing mail protocols, and SMTP is one of the standards, and usually probably one of the ones that you use or are familiar with. So this is going to be all based in that. Then we're going to bring in the MIME standards. If you don't remember what MIME is, I can never remember what it stands for, so I brought it, our good pal Wikipedia, up here, and it's multi-purpose internet mail extensions. So essentially it's a nice little format. Most emails use it. I always say make things in MIME and let your email server reduce it to a text, as opposed to taking a text and trying to turn it into a MIME later. So let's just go ahead and do that now. And as you can see, from this, it's not going to be very hard. Again, Python's going to try to make this all simple for us. So doing MIME here is a piece of cake. First, you got to import MIME text, and then we can go one of two ways. I'm just going to go with a simple hello, this is just going to take it and put it in its body. And notice the MIME text here is what we're going to use on it, and it automatically translates it into MIME text. Now, you could also grab a file. So in other words, you could have Python make a file, you could have Word make a file. This is plain text, so it's nothing special. That might be a little easier anyways to do it with that. If you want to dress that up, that's probably another tutorial, but we're just going to work with simple text here. And notice that we're going to open the file and then take that entire file and shove it into message. Here, message is just one word. That's all we're going to get to see in the email. I have to say, I am hyper secure at my house. So I originally I've done this, I've tested it and made sure it worked. And then I stripped everything out at the end, including protocols and whatnot, just because I have the gigantic fear of being spammed, or worse yet, and hopefully you all won't do this, but I know there's this opportunity to actually use this to spam across the world. No. So in other words, when you're creating this plain text file, don't say that you're a king from Nigeria and you're looking to unload $100 million if you just send me $1,000 right now. That's not the purpose of it. This is for if you're going to do a lot of mailing from your server at work, whatever. Um, it might simplify your life just a hair. So anyways, let's get back to it. Notice all these guys have MSG. That is not a monosodium glutamate. That is just short for message. This should look obvious to you. Subject, from, and to. That's going to be subject line, from line, to line. Notice here I put your email to. I probably put their email here. When I tested it out, I just did it from my email to my email to make sure it worked. So I don't have to worry about a spam filter or whatever. Which actually takes me to another story, but I'm going to stop there because we're already into this tutorial pretty well. So those are just 3 places that you can put. And this is all going to the message, but it will separate it out nicely. Notice though, this is a list, and likewise you can put lists. If you think about it, you can put lists and lists. So you can make a list of lists. So you could actually do a bulk email as well. Send the message via our own SMTP server. I think I stole that one from python.org. And but what we got here is a split. So the way I did it was use this line where I'm saying SMTP. I'm using SMTP gmail.com. Now, whatever server you use, this is for Gmail, Google's version. I know a lot of people have this, so you'd be easy to try this and fix this. Whatever your server you're going to use, or you're going to put here. The best way to do that is, or to find that, if you have Outlook, I did a real quick tutorial or a step piece, is go with File, Info, Account, and then you're probably going to drop down to Account Settings in Outlook. Once you're there, double click on the account you want. If you have multiple ones, you might only have one. And then on the first page, it should give you that outgoing mail server. I don't know, maybe about 2/3 down the page, and it should say SMTP right by it. You'll just take that and copy and paste it inside the quotes. I'm kind of messing this up. I mean, really, it doesn't matter, but probably should, for brevity's sake, we'll use single quotes on both of those, and just so we know what we're talking about. And then the socket layer. So that can be found. Still going here, so don't get out of this yet. I'm sorry I said that. Because if you don't close, you can get on the More Settings buttons in Outlook and go to the Advanced tabs, and there's going to be a section called Server Port Numbers right at the top, Outgoing Servers, SMTP again, and that will show you the socket layer and the protocol. This can be a different number. To keep it simple, you could do this SMTP Gmail again, identical to this, but then 25. The interesting thing is the SSL. Chances are you're not going to use SSL. You're going to be using TLS on outgoing mail. So we need this second line called start TLS. And you might be asking at this point, why do I have an S there? Well, S is just setting up essentially the server where you're gonna push something out. So we have a message, and we're gonna take it and we're gonna push it out to our mini server here. If we did it this way, the way I just did it, we hit the socket layer, which again is going to be a number, and that's going to push a specific protocol. Oops, I don't want to do that. Using the TLS standard, and then it's going to need a login. So once you're here, again, this your email.com should match this. I would suggest that. Technically, you could put a different one in there. I wouldn't do that. I think that's misleading, but you may. But anyways, your email at gmail.com. Again, the reason why I'm putting Gmail in there is this is just an example. Again, if you're going through Yahoo, or does anyone use Hotmail anymore? I don't know. But anyways, any one of those emails you can would go in there as long. But 9 times out of 10, this is going to match this. So the SMTP is going to is just a setup for this. It might be a little different after that. I've always, depending on where you're doing it, local. So in other words, if you have your own mail server on site, chances are that's going to be a little different. But again, easy to look up. And so anyways, you're going to log in with your email and your password. I'm using camel casing, which probably is going to get the pet police down on me and wonder why I'm using no underscores. But you know, hey, what do you know? We're going to mix our programming languages formats here. So, okay, so that will get us in. We got TLS working, and then one of the last things here is just send that message. Again, the server is going to send the message of this. The alternative route here is that you can do a send mail message, which works fine, where you're kind of combining multiple lines here. This probably works a little better with the SSL standard here, but so where it says your email, their email, that kind of takes the place of these guys up here. But again, message is going to drag all this stuff and put it in there, and then don't forget to quit. So once you've kind of set up the server, you don't want to just leave it unending up there. So the quit is good. Make sure it closes out and doesn't leave you to any vulnerabilities. And this should work. If you have any problems doing this, go ahead and give it a try. I should say, go ahead and give it a try. If you do have any problems, just email me. I may ask you for some screenshots, but basically it works very simple and it works well. You'll probably just be missing a simple protocol or something like that. Okay, this hopefully this might wrap up the list of extra topics. Oh no, we have a couple more, or one more, at least one more next week. So we'll see you then.